and they go up against the Thundering Herd, who back in Cary in 2020 were an unseeded team that hoisted their very first college cup, and since then are now recognized one of the best teams in college soccer. You take a look at how they got here for the semifinals. It took penalties for Vermont to take down the number 3 seed Denver to move forward. On the other side, the number 1 overall seed Ohio State gave up an early goal to the Thundering Herd, and Marshall held on for 83 minutes to take home a 1-0 advantage and play for everything here tonight. Folks, it is so great to be with you again. Honor and a privilege. That's Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff. Marion Crowder will join us shortly from the field. Dev, this UVM team, they've traveled 7,000 miles just in this tournament to get here. Marshall expected to be here, but by no means was the journey to get here easy.
The biggest talking points for me, though, within these two groups is that regardless of loss of form or injury or the tactical changes they've had to make, and certainly been a plenty down the stretch, that they've still found a way to get to the promised land.
Well, let's show you how Marshall got here through their semifinal experience the other night. As we see the teams come out, it was abnormal for them. We always talk about their beautiful football connecting passes. This was a little bit of route one. Alexa Yannick, the goalie, all the way to Tariq Panholzer. He rounds the keeper 1-0, and they battled their way out to win.
Stylistically, we've given them a ton of credit, but sometimes the most simplistic ways are also the most efficient, and that's exactly what it was. But they had to evolve even further, and defensively, they were stout. There was a storm from Ohio State towards the tail end of this game that you sat and wondered as to whether or not they had the ability to do it. But yet, character shown strong. But this team's success is predicated over the beautiful game and their ability to put the ball on the deck, knock it left and right, make you feel uncomfortable. So much so that over the past 5 years, again, this is one of the best teams in college soccer and can become just the 8th program all time to win 2 titles in 5 seasons.
On Vermont, the other side, an unseeded team, but do not call them Cinderella. They expected to be here as well. But it did take the Cardiac Catamounts to arrive again. 84th minute goal by Yaniv Mazzini to equalize it, and then they would take down the Pioneers in pens.
They played the game differently, and they had to change in the game. They're physical, they're direct, but their success is about belief. And through all of those changes, throwing everything but the kitchen sink on the front line to find the equalizer, they believed that no matter the circumstance, they were the ones that were going to advance. And similar to the Marshall conversation, this isn't a flash in the pan. We've seen this over the past couple of seasons from the Cardiac Catamounts, that certainly they get stylistic points, that they're always there right at the end, finding a way to get themselves over the line.
They did it in the semifinal. Can they do it in the final and hoist a very first championship for Vermont? And any America East team has never won a team national championship. Will they get it done, or 2 stars above the crest for Marshall? We find out. Championship game kicks off next.
You know the structure, you know the systems. Go out there and enjoy yourself. Go play your football.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I feel the madness taking hold.
I feel the madness taking hold.
Welcome to Fandom University. It's all part of the curriculum. March Madness. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVB tickets. Class dismissed.
Welcome back to Nada Yada Island, the reunion.
Janina, were you able to find your perfect match on the island?
Well, I'm proof you don't have to settle.
Whoa, Apple Watch SE.
And iPhone 12?
Guess who else is bundled up?
Hey, Max. I got them both too. Anybody can in Metro.
At Metro, everyone gets their perfect match. iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. Only at Metro.
The most disrespectful thing you can do is to take something that is yours. The national championship is yours! So let's go 3 for 3 in the mantle and beat Vermont soccer. Mile through one.
Well, I'm ready to run through a wall. Rob Dow getting his boys fired up before the match. Devin Kerr, take us through the lineup for the final.
I mentioned that this team is very direct, certainly, but they have the ability to change, and we saw that in the semifinal tonight. I'd like to see them be a little bit more aggressive within the midfield. They struggled early on, but the reason I say that is to find Yannick Bazzini up top. It's one of the most dynamic strikers in the country. Got to find him service early.
And on the other side, Marshall Chris Grassie's won it here before the College Cup. Here's his message.
You know the structure. You know the systems. Go out there and enjoy yourself. Go play your football tonight. All right? Let's go get a chance.
The calm before the storm in the Thundering Herd locker room. Devin, the lineup for the final.
Let's take a picture of this jigsaw puzzle and then burn it, because it's not going to look like this the rest of the night. A lot of flexibility within this system for Chris Grassi. They drop 4, they build in 3. They make you go side to side, but watch Taka Fujita on the right side. Rough injury in the semifinal. He's back, he's healthy, and he's matched up against one of the best swingers in the country in Sidney Wathuda.
Sidney Wathuda, the American East midfielder of the year. Fujita was carted off the field. If you saw the semifinal, it looked like a very serious injury, but the sophomore from Japan is giving it a go, as is Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, 7 in white. Both of these men suffered injuries. Both of them are going. Both of them all-league players. Rodriguez dos Santos, All-American first team. Michael Laverne is our center official. We are underway for the College Cup final. Center back pairing of Alex Bamford and Thiago Apolinario. That's Fujita's first touch in the game. And again, that looked like a serious injury, but he, talking to Chris Grassi before the game, said he didn't feel any pain, which is remarkable now, given what we saw the other day. Aruri Taneda, the freshman on the ball, also from Japan. Hangs it to his countrymate. Not to clean it, usually very clean on the ball.
That's something certainly to watch for. How quickly can you establish confidence for him? You mentioned Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, a striker that is within this national conversation of one of the best in the country, alongside Yannick Bazzini. You want to play into him, Dallin. Just establish the belief that, listen, we get it, you picked up a knock. Give them confidence to go through the natural motions so they're not tentative in their movements.
Alexa Yannick on the ball, who had the assist for the goal in Marshall's 1-0 win over Ohio State in the semifinal. Now Fujita, a little hairy there, could not connect with Tami Okiyoshi. Back to Max Murray, second team All-America East center back. Out to Mike Bleeker. Early on, Devin, what are you watching for early in this game as it skips through to Yannick?
We talked about flexibility, right, within both systems, how both teams have been able to change. And I mentioned Vermont, we'll start there, about being more aggressive within the midfield. Well, to do that, that means you got to pop out in different spaces, and they're already showing a different look here. You drop one underneath and allow them to bring one of their secondary midfielders a little bit higher. That also gives them more of a presence up against that back line, and that's why I'm looking at Three's company for Vermont, the ability to establish not 1, not 2, but 3 or 4 different options going forward, and also winning second and third chance balls. Marshall's ball dominance, yes, but in specific moments. This is no longer a team that needs to hold 60 or 70% possession. Instead, finding those isolated situations where they can off the ball and then stylistically go and slice, go in the other direction.
Ryan Zelafro, the freshman, getting kind of tossed around. He had an outstanding semifinal game and now draws the foul. He was the one change in the lineup. He got the start. He had not in the previous 5 games, but he was great on the ball and also making some big defensive recoveries for Rob Dow's crew.
tenacity and energy. That's everything for Ryan Zelafro tonight. Trying to inspire him in that attacking midfielder type role. Again, a lot more flexibility because of the ground coverage you get. Adrian Schultz-Solano, he will float into that singular 6 and allow Niels Hartman to come higher. And then all of a sudden, Sidney Wathuta jumps onto that front line.
Vermont is a big physical team. Almost everybody in the starting lineup is over 6 feet tall. Sidney Wathuta trying to play it around to Bazzini. He hits it back to Barrett, the center back, defensive player of the year in the league. And it goes out for the first corner of the match, and Wathuta will jog over there to take it. Wathuta, second in the nation, 14 assists on the campaign. Out swinging ball, handed down. And Yannick is there as Barrett, the captain. Got decent purchase on it.
It's certainly something to keep an eye on, though. One of the reservations we had in our conversation with Marshall head coach Chris Grassi was man marking, and in restart situations felt like they've struggled a little bit in their tournament games. It happened against Ohio State. They were fortunate not to cough one up, so that it was a key emphasis in their training session yesterday.
Enrique Rodriguez dos Santos, you saw him hit the deck there, the Brazilian first-team All-American, newly minted in the last couple days. Just took his first tackle there. He did get up to his feet right away. And with more on the injuries, let's get down to Marion Crowder.
Yeah, guys, I was told that Taka Fujita's ankle was indeed dislocated after Friday night's game, but there was no nerve damage, no additional tears from a tendon perspective. So head coach Chris Grassi says, all right, what do you need to do? You need to tape, you need to get ice. And he said, coach, relax. It doesn't hurt. And guys, from all the looks of his warm-ups, it appears as if nothing actually happened. But what you can't replicate leading up to this game is the contact. So that is definitely something to keep your eye on. And as for Luniker Rodriguez dos Santos, he was more of a game time decision than Taco was. And they were actually waiting for the lineup submission before they saw him in warm-ups. There is a little uncertainty regarding how much adrenaline is feeding in to Rodriguez dos Santos' mentality. And Grassi actually said, ideally, he scores a hat trick in 20 minutes and I get to take him off.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he wants that. That would be great. But we'll see if that actually materializes. But Rodriguez dos Santos is a guy that can do it, as he's second in the nation in points with 35. As Fujita heads it down. David Ismail trying to turn on Fujita, failed there. Out wide to Taneda. Back to Polinario.
Already defensively, a different look. And they pop Zelafro to the outside. David Ismail's come up, and it's created a little bit of a flatter shape, but the way that Marshall likes to rotate also gives you better coverage on the outside. It's support, too, for Bazzini. He's not that lone soldier going side to side. He's got support coverage, so they can go two, pump it to the outside, and then push them into one-on-one situations.
Godar's pass pulls Bamford back, and actually Yannick will come out and touch it to the center back from England. Taneda, defended by Zelafro, the Union Academy product. Alex Sterngard gets it out wide to Fujita. Marco Silva, back to Sterngard. Ball picked out. Adrian Schultz-Solano, but turned over. Out comes Nick Hersick, the freshman who's been outstanding in the goal, made a huge save in the penalty shootout they had in the semifinal. Now he's looking long for Bazzini to chase. And we do want to show you, we'll get to that in a second, a quick restart by Marshall. Handholds with the goal scorer in the semifinal, making the run to the channel. Taneda. Up to Fujita. He'll drive it off of his teammate. And now Fujita's injury from the other night, take a look, it looked scary to say the least. And then when the stretcher comes on and he's in the ambulance, it was disconcerting.
He got up, tried to run it off, and certainly adrenaline took over. The big takeaway from Taka Fujita's injury was talking with the staff behind the scenes, and they said, listen, he's bionic. That's that simple. You could utilize
Well,
other
clearly
words,
it seems that way.
But what we witnessed, and then not just his ability to then get up and make a play, but also to get himself back into shape tonight. They talked about all of the work that he does outside of the normal regimen put forth in front of these players. Plyometrics, an hour plus every single day, that he sculpts his body better than anyone in the program. And it feels like that had a massive reason as to why he's available for selection tonight.
I've never seen anything like it in sports, to see an injury like that and have a young man back on the field 72 hours later, less than that. But thankful for him and every Marshall fan. He's in there. One of the best players and a future pro, Chris Grassi will tell you all the time.
Just wonder not only how he's going to handle it, but as to whether or not, also the way the game goes, the weather. Because some of the cold weather could cause some stiffness with him and start to tighten up a little bit as the game goes on.
47 degrees now, down from about mid-50s when they were warming up. Theo Godard with the throw-in, native of France. Okiyoshi, number 8 in the middle of your screen, a second-team All-American, plays it back to Bamford. Marco Silva. Godard. Out wide to Taneda. Gets off a cross over the head of Max Murray, which is saying something for the 6'5" center back. And Vermont head coach Rob Dow in his 8th year, leading his team to the first ever College Cup appearance and now College Cup final for the Catamounts. Wild last month for him. He did have a son, Russell, was born on Thanksgiving morning. That afternoon, the whole team boarded a flight. He had to say goodbye to his brother, his wife, Lauren, and their other son, 7-year-old Hanson, and say, we got to go play San Diego. And they won that game in OT, and they've continued this journey, this magical ride they've been on, unseeded, with 3 road wins to get to this point here. And they've carried that ship of disrespect that they talk about throughout this tournament.
That's some dinner conversation for you. How was the close of your, not bad, won the regular season, won the American East Conference Championship, had a baby. Oh, you know what? He played for a national title.
It's a heck of a run. His family actually did make the trip. Lauren and Russell got on a plane organized by the athletic department from Vermont, flew them down here, so they're in the building. Able to be here if this mesh moment comes together, and now you see where the size of this team comes in. Zach Barrett, that's their center back, defensive player of the year in the conference, will always come forward on almost any set-piece situation. Yeah, there's coach with Russell, all smiles.
Guys, I actually learned something about Rob Dow today. I was talking to him pregame. He says he's actually one of the most, if not the most superstitious member of this Vermont team. In fact, the scarf he is wearing is from 2022 when they made their first run, and he has not washed it. He is going to continue wearing it until something happens tonight.
In that run, the quarterfinals, we've got to and lost to the eventual champ Syracuse as Rodriguez and Santos could not keep up with that. The other superstition they have going now, too, is the playoff mustaches, because they started with Movember back in 22, and they had a run then, and that ended in December. Well, last year, the round of 16, and now this year he said, we're not shaving, we're going all the way. And they were right. Those playoff stashes are being rocked by all the coaching staff. Many of the players that, let's say, physically can do it are doing it.
You got that beard in the bag?
I don't. No. I can't do it. No. There we go. The fans got him too.
I need one. Fake or not, I need one.
Yeah, the guys in the stands there. I thought that was the Chicago Bears SNL skit about to start. Who'd win in a fight, Hurricane Ditka or Ditka? Flip back to Fujita.
Some of the look that you're seeing right now from the Catamounts is very similar to what we saw at the tail end of the match against Denver when they were trying to get a comeback. The only difference is their wingers playing a little bit higher to get more pressure. I would say that Marshall has done a really good job counteracting that, though, and here's why. They've maintained their presence on the width, and then right here, you're getting your second and third runs coming out of the midfield. Alexander Sterngard and Okiyoshi doing an excellent job of either sitting deep or pushing that secondary presence up top.
Well read by Barrett to cut off that ball played over the top. Fujita on it now. Sterngard. Apollinario. Trying to get it to Rodriguez dos Santos. Ismail picks it off. Can the Catamounts maintain possession?
They do. That's the third time, though. Third sloppy giveaway we've seen from Marshall in about 15 minutes of play. And the good news is there's quality pressure by Vermont that, again, in those man-on-man situations, really difficult to bet against them because of how efficient they are. Now they're just looking for that support that I talked about when they are picking up those little 50-50 balls or poor passes from Marshall. They need the support to then build off of each other, and they seem a little bit slow to react on those turnovers.
Mathuda, he is dangerous on that wing. He wants to cut back on his right. He does. Back to Barrett. Barrett will drive it into Ismail. Mathuda. Muscled off by Apollinario. Pineda looking to switch it over to Silva. Gets there on a couple hops. Apollinario taking a little bit of space, the center back. Finds Panholzer, looking curl that, deflected by Murray, and they can breathe easy as that goes out for a corner.
It's the tactical ability we're talking about, just these small windows that they're able to play through. First touch, not as clean as Panholzer would have liked, but great recovery to then get it back across the body. So he takes a little touch with the left foot, also allows Vermont and Max Murray specifically to recover and get back in front of it.
Okiyoshi to take the corner. First of the match for the Thundering Herd. Floated toward the spot. Almost a free header for Rodriguez dos Santos. Pineda able to keep it in. Back out to Okiyoshi. Godard to Sterngard. He's a Panholzer, excuse me.
Tackle.
Freshman Ryan Zelifo, great work. And then carelessly turned over by Nate Simeon.
Well, coming into the game, one of the questions was going to be who was dropped out going to play at the 10 spot. Now, they changed it just a little bit, the way that the lineup looks with Ismail, but it was either Marcel Papp or Ryan Zelifro. Near impossible to keep him out of the starting lineup, given the second half that he had coming off the bench. One of the best players on the field for the Catamounts. Energy, closing down space. To me, it's the elimination of players. That's on both sides of the ball. Quick turnovers to push teams into uncomfortable spots, but then when they're also picking them up, he's the catalyst to get this team going the other direction.
Bazzini, third-team All-American on the ball. Transfer from North Carolina State a few years back. Catamount leading scorer. Number 11 in gold. Wathuda. Dangerous service against 14 assists on the season. Pineda comes away with the ball. You made a comment before the game about UVM's players always seem to be smiling and enjoying the moment. We saw Marshall's locker room talking to those guys, very calm. How do you manage nerves in a game like this? Because it hasn't started all that nervy like we've seen in some other games in the tournament.
Different teams react to different situations, right? The identity is set, and the most important thing is to stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're Vermont and you are happy-go-lucky, and that brotherhood is a little bit more playful, you don't want to steer away from that. Embrace it, especially in moments like this, because that level of comfort stays with you. A little bit more business-like, if you will, for Marshall. But again, stay true to yourselves, not allowing themselves to be overrun by the moment.
On that note, Devin, you could see that in the way that these two teams showed up to the field today. For Vermont, the way they were dressed, it was very hodgepodge. Some guys showed up very nice. Some guys showed up in shorts and a T-shirt. For Marshall, all uniformed, every single player in the exact same thing from top to bottom.
And they do some nice Letterman's jackets, the Thundering Herd does. And to your point, some of the Vermont coaching staff walking around barefoot on the field, just taking it all in. Very Burlington.
It's right in my wheelhouse.
It really is. Folks, he usually calls games without shoes on. It's bizarre and just unsettling to me, but today he's got shoes on. Thank you, man. Panholzer charging forward, getting behind some of the Catamount defense. Trying to get end line, he does. Pulls it back. Ismail leaves it for Schultz Solano. Zelafro on it now. Polinario reads it well. Silva 1v1 with Bathuta. Pulls it back to Fajita. Okiyoshi, low ball played in. Barrett into the Perry Knight. One thing about this Vermont back line, they've all played so many games together this year, but particularly the center back pairing of Barrett and Murray, over 85 starts each in a Catamount jersey. What a ball.
but like those moments right there, that's where I'm talking about. Their ability where it's the long ball right, they chase, and then all of a sudden, Panholzer, great turn. You've got the trailing run atop the 18. It's certainly not the quality that you're looking for, but these guys are taught. It is ingrained in them. The next ball, the next ball, the next run. From a tactical standpoint, soccer IQ, some of the best players in the country.
There's your goal scorer from the semifinal. Panholzer right in the middle of the screen. German native, grew up in the St. Pauli Academy, which is a club that has worked their way in the Bundesliga in recent years. He's part of the Germany youth national team set up for a couple games. Duda spins into trouble. The long wait is over, folks. The college football playoff 12-team version starts Friday night. Notre Dame hosts Indiana in South Bend, 8 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. That is an amazing way to kick off the playoff. Then TNT has Saturday's first two games. SMU against your boys, Penn State. We'll get to them in a second. Happy Valley, noon Eastern. Clemson takes on Texas down in Austin. And then we wrap up with Ohio State hosting Tennessee. Just a colossal clash at the Shoe in Columbus on ESPN and ABC. Can't wait for Friday and Saturday. How do you feel about your Nittany Lions?
I feel good. I would say special thanks to the committee for scheduling a midday game, and also special thanks to the committee for sending my wife a note that it's probably not the best idea that being on the road all year long to allow me to go just one more time.
Okiyoshi trying to clip it in. Barrett, though, gets his chest on it, and again, just gets it out of dodge. Now, this is pretty interesting. Obviously, these coaches have remarkable journeys. That's Mike Noonan, the Clemson head coach, who were the reigning champs right now up until the next couple hours. They also won back in 2021. He began his coaching journey at UVM. He's in the section supporting the Catamounts with his wife, Deborah. Good to see Coach Noonan here. Proud of the Northeast history and lineage, and as many people are watching. Northeast soccer represented well by the Catamounts and well by Ryan Zelafro here. Still keeping on at the freshman, able to get it back to Bazzini, and maybe something's on here. He's got Ismail to his right, Bathuta to his left. Play him. He does. Ismail could be in. 1v1 with Yannick. Shot save. Still in, though. Yannick clips it back. Couldn't find the head of Bazzini. Swing and a miss. Pressure still on. Schultz Solano lets it run and runs right back to the Thundering Herd. Panholzer on it. He tried to counter the other way, looking for Silva. No.
It's what Rob now wants. Really well done defensively on the break. Just a little bit slow in decision making. If he releases it a half second sooner, that's going to allow Sidney Wathuta on the backside to open up. And then, not the cleanest of touches, comes back across the body. That allows Yannick to slip over a little bit. Again, we talk about the way this Marshall team likes to play. They put the ball on the deck. We showcased all the goals that they've been able to score. But rest assured, the foundation for this squad, built back in 2020 by those national champions, was about their defensive capabilities. It's funneled over once again into 2024. Yannick, 5th in Division I in goals against average, top 25 in save percentage. Quality down the stretch there.
And they are top 10 in goals against average this year. As you take a look at the recent champs, and Marshall taking down that championship in 2020, knocking off a blue blood in Indiana. This is Fujita down. We're going to try to see what happened. And again, if you were just joining, this young man had what looked like a horrific injury on the semifinal Friday night, where he had to be stretchered and stretchered off the field. But that was a lower leg injury. You see the work here. We're not speculating, but they're not touching that lower extremity, which was the problem. We're working on taking a look. He went down kind of behind the play, so let's take a look at the chance Vermont had to potentially make this thing 1-0.
Certainly the moments aren't always aplenty when it comes to national title games. Great work on the outside. Great touch there, and it's just a little bit far away. Play it now. Instead, he has to come back across. Does a really good job of holding Fujita, but then all of a sudden it's not quick enough there. As it comes back across the body, he doesn't allow himself to have a good angle on Yannick, and also he's not able to pick out Sidney Wathuta trailing on the backside. But most importantly, that's the belief, Dallin, that I've talked about within this team. You defend, you stand strong, and you get that moment and you break.
So we'll see as they continue to work on Fujita. Now, again, in college soccer, he could leave the game in the first half. He can re-enter in the second if he's okay. So we'll see what they do here. You mentioned belief, though, and I think that's interesting because you hear that from the UVM team all the time, that they believe. But what Marshall and Chris Grassi, it's different now with this team in 2024. As he said, the 2020 team that was unseeded, that nobody, they were the outsiders, and they go through and they win a championship. That put Marshall soccer on the map. Now these guys get to stand on the shoulder of those giants, and they don't need to believe. They know they're good enough to win this thing. They came here expecting to be in these positions, and that's where they are this year as Fujita's on his feet.
Interesting the change on the back end of it, where you go from kind of this unknown, right? Certainly a program that was building, but you win a national title, you become the hunted, right? The expectation within the program changed, and so much pressure didn't really bring a ton of enjoyment initially with it. They felt like more of it as a sigh of relief when they got a result. Win or draw, they walked out of it and said, okay, now we got to find a way to do the next one. He said that's probably the biggest change over the last 18 months, and especially for this group, how they've been able to find more joy after a win. They're not going crazy, but get over, celebrate the 90 minutes, celebrate with the fans, and then get back to business.
Now we see Fujita slowly making his way off the pitch. And that Marshall team last year was the #1 overall seed, which Fujita was part of. They were 18-2 coming into the tournament, but fell to Stanford in the round of 16. Okay, now the sub is about to be made. We'll see if it comes right away or Fujita still tries to stay on, but he continues to grab the back of his leg. And Alexander Vukovic is the one readying himself. You see him just coming into your screen, number 6, the Serbian senior, transfer from UC Riverside. He was an all Big West player back in 22. So with Fujita out, he looks like he's going to make his way to the tunnel and up to the locker room. How is this team different? Because that is a special young man that's not on the field.
Well, the most important thing is you've got a very experienced center back coming onto the field in special moments too, not just here at Marshall, but the transfer coming over from UC Riverside. He understands the system that Chris Marshy puts out there, and regardless of change, he'll be able to work into it. The biggest thing you lose, though, is some of the man-to-man marking and the way that Fujita floats. That's a kid who's really comfortable popping up into the midfield, long stretches in a game where he's man marking, but also playing within the system on the attacking side. Vukovic doesn't give you that. He plays deeper. He's going to be more reserved, so that does open up a little bit more space in front of him for Wathuda and Bazzini to slide over.
Pinged out wide to Taneda. Panholzer. And Fujita did come out the man marking. He basically took Michael Adudakin out of the game, who's one of the best players in the country for Ohio State last game before he went down injured. This is Vukovic's first touch. Now you've got another Marshall player down, Panholzer, but he gets to his feet. What have you made of the first 24 minutes here?
Nerves.
Okay.
Not overwhelming in nature, but certainly a couple of missed time balls for Marshall on some of the tackles that we've referenced defensively where Vermont has been great. Their inability to maybe commit to the attack going forward for fear of leaving that space in behind for Marshall to counter. Just seems a little bit off from both squads.
Marco Silva working, now back to Sterngard. So Polinario. He might be lining up a shot. He is. It goes wide. Now we talked about Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos and how important he is to this team. He's a first-team All-American now. He also was injured on Friday in a really tough tackle, and he was an absolute game-time decision. Within the last minutes, you see him get clipped out there by Nick McHenry. He's going, but he's not really made a presence in this game. Is that what Vermont is doing to take him out?
He's a little bit slow in his step, I would say.
Okay.
I also understand that, all due respect to Ohio State and a lot of other teams that Marshall played this year, that ain't Max Murray. And it's certainly not Zach Barrett on the back line. Those guys are very physical. They're excellent at communication of getting 2v1s and also passing them off. The way that Lineker plays, dropping down in, a lot of hard cuts, right? A lot of back to goal, trying to find players to play off of. They've struggled a little bit there, but also defensively understand that you look at him great. Third in the country in points. His work rate is maniacal on the front level of pressure for that Marshall team. And he struggled a little bit to track some of these runners coming out in the Vermont build.
Flipping it, looking for Max Murray on the back post. All 6'5" of them, doesn't quite get there with Duda's service. Big center backs are forward, Barrett and Murray, along with Bleeker, their left back. Schultz-Alana will flick it on, but Yannick there. Effort to Sterngard.
Risky ball. Risky
Bro
ball.
picks it off. Ismail's there. They could be on transition situation. Nice job by Polinario to break it up as they were on the counter. There's Rodriguez dos Santos. Heavy first touch for the native of Rio de Janeiro. Will he be able to get onto this one? Not quite. Zelafro again there. Nice turn, and that's going to be a yellow. Maybe not.
Christmas has come early.
And Rob Dow's upset, giving the June Carr, the fourth official, an earful. I mean, isn't that a textbook yellow? Professional foul?
Wow, that's certainly questionable on the referee. But here's what's going to go on between the coaching staffs and certainly within the players, and that's what's going on with Rob Dow in the technical area. How is that not number one? But if you're going to do that now, 5 minutes time, if my guys reciprocate, just make sure you're keeping it even.
Which is dangerous because by the letter of the law, a transition moment where you pull like that, a professional foul is supposed to be a yellow, but we'll come back to that.
Players will take it upon themselves.
Yeah. Big tackle by Ismail, got the ball, well done. That's Barrett, that's your center back, well done. Bazzini on it, your striker now. He goes down in a heap, and Michael Laverne says, get up. Simeon up to Ismail.
The flexibility of David Ismail on the outside. Woo. Talk about the work rate by Ryan Sellerville. That is a big boy tackle right there. Coming back across. He doesn't make that. Penholzer's gone.
Wathuta, second quarter of the match for the Catamounts. Outswing ball headed just wide. And that's their guy, Bazzini, the third-team All-American. And leading scorer almost did it again. He scored in every match in this tournament.
And watch the way that he works off with his arm. Just matched up right outside the top of the 6. Gets Marco Silva to bite a little bit, and on the half turn, just uses his arm. It's not a foul. It's a little bit of shoulder to shoulder just to embrace the physical challenge that's in front of him. Creates that gray area space. Nearly the opener. What you want to watch with Bazzini. There are going to be moments where he's out of this game. Don't be surprised. He does a lot of work off the ball. What he's best at, though, is isolating a high percentage of opportunity for himself. So he'll go 5-10 minutes where you won't see anything. But he's right around 3.5 shots a game. That's top 15 in the country. And then efficient within that, about 1.75, so nearly half hitting the target, also top 10. It may not always be a plenty, but certainly quality when he gets there.
Well done by Max Murray, the second-team All-America East central defender, excuse me. This possesses Rodriguez dos Santos, now gets it up to Ismail. Barrett now trying to look for the feet of Wathuta, finds him. Zelafro. Stern guard, Denmark native, out to Okiyoshi. Yoshi's pass picked off. Now Zelafro's got a lot of space. Taneda making a big recovery run. Zelafro still on it. Simeon. Well read by Taneda. Tia Godard. Picked off by Barrett. Well read.
Such a good read by him.
Smell back to Zelafro.
Understand on that down too. It's not just the read. It's as he's coming. He can't just touch the ball and allow that thing to come 10 yards away from his body. It's got to be clean, plucking it out of the air because of the space that he leaves in behind him. As good as they are at recovery defending, if he doesn't get that touch perfect, Marshall steps in and comes through. That's one of the biggest takeaways I've loved about this team, watching them progress as the year has gone on. The confidence that these center backs have retained. So it's Murray, it's Barrett, it's their ability to just feel so comfortable on the ball, whether they're stepping into a tight moment within the midfield or comfortably playing off the back line.
Godard goes down. On that note, you say how comfortable the center back pairing is. Barrett's making over his 88th start there. But Max Murray, he was a first-team All-League striker 2 years ago for the America East. He now is a second-team All-League center back in that league, as he had to come back around second game of this year to deputize there, and now he locked down that spot. This is not good. Alexei Yannick, the goalkeeper for Marshall, has hit the deck. So we'll take a look and see what happens. And to Yannick here.
Certainly got a problem. What's interesting is, right there, you also see him tap his back, but that's what I'm looking at right there is on the shoulder. Wondering if one of the balls that came through before, possibly on the Bazzini corner where he got caught up with a little bit of traffic in front of him. Some contact occurred that sent a stinger.
Now, he did miss some time earlier this year. This is his 16th start now. And he has 8 shutouts in his previous 15 matches and starts. But Dan Rose, the secondary keeper out of England, may need to be called upon here. Played 8 games this year, early in the season for the Thundering Herd. The junior from Serbia, transfer from Wingate, who's a D2 star at that level, all-region team in terms of All-America, and transfers here to Marshall, and it's been integral into Chris Grassie's success for his shot stopping, but also what he can do with his feet, how critical that is to the way they play. We saw that in the last game. He had the assist on their goal.
Second on the year, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of bragging rights within the locker room. Got to go back a little bit further to see where this contact actually occurred with Yannick.
Well, he's still working it off. Let's tell you, the coverage of the NCAA championships continues with the Women's Volleyball Championship semifinal Thursday, December 19th, 6:30 Eastern. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, log on to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 championships. You got an all-ACC affair, Pitt, Louisville, 6:30 Eastern. And then you have Penn State taking on Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, last year's runner-up in the nation to Texas. That game, all Big Ten affair as well there. So you got the ACC, you got the Big Ten, the championship game Sunday, 3 o'clock on ABC.
I feel like I'm at First in an episode of Seinfeld. My worlds are colliding. Penn State and my family and the Nittany Lions in the background, and born and raised Omaha, Nebraska native, land of Lincoln.
And the nexus of the universe. There you go, First. Well, I don't know who you root for there, but we'll find out. 9 o'clock. Check it out.
There's only one team.
Oh, only one. All right.
Good touch.
Nice ball back to Bazzini. Tries to clip it in. And now blasted out as we go under the 12-minute mark in the first half. Back to Barrett. Heavy touch from Mathuda. He's another starlet we've talked about, the sophomore, 22 in gold. How does he get more involved in this game?
Some of the decision-making that we've referenced were when they do win some of these balls, just quicker to get out. Certainly when it comes in, got to be cleaner on the ball.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a little bit more stretching the back line of Marshall, trying to play a bit over the top, be direct to make them feel uncomfortable, show another look, and allow him to utilize his speed.
Handhelds are clipped it by Barrett, but great recovery by Simeon. Hanover gets end line, back to Teneda. He'll wind it up, blocked. Almost fell to the feet of Lineker, but Ismail's able to clear it. Now Bazzini might be going the other way. Well read by Vukovic. Back to Yannick. Nice distribution to Sterngard. Godard. Bamford now out to the right back spot. Pushed out there when Fujita went down with the injury. Up to Okiyoshi. Silva head up. Back to Silva.
I'll get it.
A couple of Thundering Herd players could collide, and Canzella win this race with Vukovic. He'll win the ball. Good hustle by both. Clean play, physical play, national championship on the line. cross under the 9.5-minute mark. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff. Marion Crowder, the former great Georgia Bulldog goal scorer, down on the pitch for us. Men's College Cup National Final here, 0-0 between Vermont and Marshall. Marshall, the 2020 champs, the 13 overall seed in this tournament. Vermont, they say don't call them Cinderellas. They are the unseeded team. They are doing something no team has ever done in Vermont history, play for a national title. No America East team has ever done in the history of that league, play for a national title. They were unseeded as the conference champs. You got 3 games on the road, but here they are with a chance to win the title, making their first substitution of the match. Maximilian Kissel comes in, the Bridgeport transfer, Division II player last year, was an All-American, led the nation in scoring. And now Kissel, who's got 10 goals on the campaign, can come in and make a difference without a doubt like he did in the Pitt game in the quarterfinals. He scored the first goal when they beat Pitt on their field, the number 2 overall seed in this tournament. Donick claims it.
As much as we want to look at the striker up top and Yaniv Bazzini, his counterpart Kissel, who can play alongside of him, but is usually brought up in support. 4th in the country in game-winning goals, so coming off the bench certainly never hurts to have that kind of spark.
He's got 5 of them on the campaign. There's Kissel on it. Muscle off it, but through the foul. Delafro tried to touch it past, and he will go down now, the 8th foul of the game. And Rob Dowd's starting to ask for some cards to be doled out here. Your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I'm enjoying the show on the sideline between Rob Dow and Chris Grassi. Game of charades. So we asked to join.
Do you want to get down there and get
from
involved?
up here. We'll do it from up here.
Marion's down there. She could get in the mix.
Sure. Three's company. Told you.
There.
Key to the game.
Key to the game. Doesn't matter where the dead ball is. They will send the big center backs up there. So Murray is there. Max Murray, the top of your screen. The center back, 6'5" there. You've got Barrett toward the middle of those jerseys right there at the armband. Looking for Murray. He's able to get his head on it, head it down. Almost hooked back into the mixer, but out harmlessly from the throw. We'll see if Barrett goes over to do one of his patented long throws. Yes, there he is. And again, the target will be Murray when he's done tying his shoe. They are very formidable on set pieces. And these long throws. Ball's back to the feet of Barrett. Now we'll clip it in. Defended well by Vukovic. Yes. Bring it down, and now Nate Simeon does. He dances past the defender, out wide of Wathuda. Still got Murray up there. Cuts it back to his left foot. Just overhit it, but he was looking for the big center back. Let's take a look at the Capital One standings. His teams compete for a combined $500,000 in athlete scholarships from Capital One. Current leaders on the men's side, BYU and UCLA tied up at 20 apiece. North Carolina, the ladies are running away with it. They didn't run away last week with the Women's College Cup, but it was a fun and competitive game, and they get another championship on their mantle. It's the 22nd NCAA championship for the Tar Heels. Barrett finds Zelafro. Well done. Back to Barrett again. Zelafro trying to hook it into Wathuda. Oh, dangerous. Skips through. And Vukovic can breathe a sigh of relief.
Certainly just trying to throw it in the danger area and see as to whether or not you can make something good out of it. Wathuda has come higher. You know, you asked me earlier what they can do to give him some confidence up high. He's also in a very unique position defensively because of the versatility in Okioshi, who's providing some defensive support in the absence of Fujita. She's pinching out to the right side. If you're Wathuda, you have to go and close, but you can't go all the way. You go all the way, then you're opening up more space centrally to allow guys like Sterngard or Okioshi on the invert to get on it. So it's just picking and choosing the right moment, lacking a little bit of confidence right now.
Taneda with that left foot. It's a long. See if Silva can keep it in. He can. Sterngard.
Beautiful.
And it's Okioshi. Nice. Try for the cutback. Deflected. Still Okioshi on it. A lot of space for a cross here. Driven in. Headed by Simeon. Theo Godard battling. Now he just pulls the jersey of Nils Hartman.
Eventually, this is going to get out of hand, and both sides
There's
like,
our first
there
one.
we
There
go.
we go.
Okay.
So Godard goes in the book.
It had to. There have just been too many instances in the first half on both sides, to be clear. Well, the referee gave them a little bit of a leash to go and play with, and finally sets the precedent. Well done by Nils Hartman to not allow himself to get turned around. That is just brute force in the midfield for the grad student.
And Hartman, what a fascinating story he is. He played a part of the Gibraltar national team. He got to play against Kylian Mbappe in the French national team in Euro qualifying. They didn't win still, but he was on the field, which is pretty cool.
Also goes into that belief, right?
Yeah.
That one of the most important players within the midfield conversation all season long, especially when he was out injured and they had to find a way to recreate him. That in the game against Denver, they took him off.
Yep.
You know, that was part of that Ryan Zelafro change where they brought him on. They became a little bit more vertical, gave them a higher presence, even on the attacking side of things. And Hartman was more than happy to come off, said, I'm going to play my role. And it's kind of the identity of this Catamount squad.
That's what this team does. They'll do whatever is necessary. And they've, as you mentioned, had a number of injuries throughout the course of the year that caused a lot of reshuffling at different places. That's how you ended up with Max Murray playing center back. But they've weathered all those storms, and now they are in the national championship game with no Catamount team.
That's an excellent ball.
Has ever been in. Barrett on a foot race with Panholzer. A little collision, no call either way. A quick distribution by Hersig. This might, almost found the feet of Kissel, but Vukovic got his head on it first. Crowded out, Wathuda. Solano to Hartman. He pulls it back.
I see, look on the far side of the field. This is what I'm talking about. They just get a bit narrow, right? You start to release. They like to build in three, but if you don't release on one side, at times they struggle with the balance on the other. And that's one where you look at Mike Bleeker, they had the ability to gamble a little bit. You could ping a 40-yard ball there, and if you don't get on it, defensively, you still have the proper coverage. So don't be afraid to take a chance.
Winning that second ball, though, resulted in a foul, the 9th of the match for the Thundering Herd. This is a dangerous spot.
And it's also something just to bow it for both sides. That's one of the things that Marshall is really comfortable in, right? They'll sit deep defensively. They'll play side to side, but they'll hit that 40-yard ball to stretch you and keep you honest on the back line.
Again, Wathuda, second Division I this year, 14 assists over the ball, the sophomore from Canada. Midfielder of the year in the conference. Can he hook somebody up? You've got Murray, Bazzini, Barrett, a lot of aerial threats in there. Bazzini currently in an offside position. Flipped in, Kissel there, just over his head. Kept in for a throw as we are encroaching on 60 seconds to go in the first half.
1 minute remaining in the first half.
And Barrett now winding up for the long throw. Almost got it to Murray. Does flick on and goes out for a corner. Maintain the pressure. Third of the match for the Cats. In-swinging ball. Headed up, but not out. Now it's out. 20 seconds to go. Simeon to keep it in. Back to Zelafro. 15. Plays it back to Hersig. More distribution. Won't hurt him. And we're going to end this thing after 45 down in the College Cup 0-0. Thoughts, Steph?
It feels like a title game. Certainly both teams came to play a little bit tentative, but also this is where it's great for a manager where you can get into the dressing room and say, it's okay to be a little bit more loose. Stick to our identity. Well fought from the first two in the opening 45 minutes.
Now let's get down to the field. Marion's got Coach Grassi.
Coach, you talked about time on the ball and decision-making on the ball being important in this matchup. What do you think of your team's first half performance?
I think it's good. I think there's a few things we need to clean up. We're getting into good areas a lot, but we just need to be a little bit more dangerous. There's a couple of runs we need to make, and then they're really dangerous on the counterattack. We've got to tighten up that counter prevention a little bit and fix those things. I think we'll be fine.
It was incredible that Taco was even on the pitch today. Should we expect to see him in the second half?
I hope so. I mean, it wasn't his ankle I heard. It was, I think he heard something, maybe felt like a muscle. So he just wanted to be cautious and come off and get it fixed. So hopefully he's fine.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Taka could potentially re-enter the match in the second half. We'll see if that actually happens. First, we got halftime here in the College Cup. We go through the All-Americans that were announced. We also, the Mac Herman semifinalist list will be whittled down to the finalist midweek. Who does Devin think is the best player in the country? We find out next.
Finish your gift list today. Up to 50% off select hoodies, sweatshirts, and more. 20% off select Hoka shoes. Up to 40% off NCAA hoodies, polos, and quarter zips. Order by December 19th to get your gifts in time. Give the gift of sport at Dick's.
There is no right final to compare with your imagination.
Outstanding. That's Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff. I can talk. We'll get there. Let's talk about the All-American list because that came out the other night, and we also have the Mac Herman semifinalists are out. The finalists will be announced later in the week. Let's start with the All-Americans, though. We've seen a bunch of guys, they were all great all year, that got to this point in the College Cup and put their skills on full display.
6 players that made it to the College Cup. And so some of these guys are going to funnel themselves into what most people are going to consider the best players in the country in the Mac Herman. I love what I saw out of Ziggy Magnuson, the Ohio State center back, especially in the absence of Nathan Demian, his fallen counterpart on the back line. Good to see that he's on the road to recovery, but a very astute player that was clean in possession. We saw it all year, but just felt like he was at another level. Certainly someone that is going to be a pro prospect as we move forward. And then a couple of them that have made their way into tonight's game. One of the most interesting ones to me is Okiyoshi, and it's because of the flexibility that he gives you as a coach. The absence of Fujita, if it continues on, Okiyoshi can pop himself onto the back line. We've seen tonight that he's played really high on that right-hand side. He just gives you so much ground coverage that as a manager, it's such a delight to be able to have in the back pocket. He can really do anything.
And you saw Bazzini out. He was the goal scorer the other night that got them equalized. Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, he's dealing with injury today. We'll see if he can impact this game here in the final and more in the second 45. Now, the Mac Herman Award is the National Player of the Year. The finalists will be announced later this week, and then a winner will be crowned after that. I want you to give me, if you could, can you get me to 3? We're at 15 now. Can you get me to 3, my friend?
Here's the rule. If I get a vote, I'll take it down to 3. That's just the wealth of talent that we're dealing with this year. I got it to 4. So we'll start off with who I think are the best players in the country, and will probably be at least one of the finalists, right? 3 of the 4. Michael Adedokin, winger from Ohio State, 2-way player. Yes, he's physical, he's quick, but he's got a high IQ, knows how to play deep down in the trenches, and he's unselfish in nature. Probably the most flexible midfielder in the country is Sam Bassett, set-piece specialist, had the wondrous goal that gave them that 1-0 lead. His brother doing great things for Colorado Rapids. Again, another pro prospect. Really good as he continues to get higher and further along in his career. Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, to me, is probably the most pro-ready in terms of striker positions in the country right now. IQ off the charts, does all the dirty work defensively, really good in the pocket, back to goal, and then strikes at a moment's notice. But if I had to pick one, and who I thought was going to win the Mac Herman Award as the best player in the country, it's Emil Jääskeläinen from Akron. Why? He's a natural striker. He's good in the air. He's got a nose for goal. And when push comes to shove, that ball hits 8 yards and in. This kid just attacks with a vengeance that I haven't seen in quite some time. His 23 goals on the season tie for the seventh best output that we've seen since 1998 in a single year.
Now, Jääskeläinen Zips, the Akron Zips, got to the second round. The other guys we're talking about got here to the College Cup. So you said you'd be giving it to him, the award to him. So the College Cup vote, the voting still can be happening right now. It wouldn't matter to the College Cup run, wouldn't factor in your ultimate decision.
A single game, no. Certainly the run itself, absolutely. But the body of work over the course of the season, we're not talking about 10 games, right? When you get into postseason play, it's 4 games, it's 5 games, it's 6 games. It was only 2 for Akron, unfortunately. But that shouldn't be utilized against him based upon the run that Rodriguez dos Santos has had. Goals are great, absolutely. But also in the special moments, I mentioned the game-winning goals over the run of play. We talked about that for Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos. Yeah, tied for first in the country, Jääskeläinen. So it's not just putting up fluff. He knows exactly when to strike in the right moments.
Let's just touch on Rodriguez dos Santos as relates to this game, because he is carrying the injury. How does he get more involved tonight? Because we talk about him, we're showing you how great he's been all year. He's been a bit absent today. How do you get him involved?
To me, it's the ability to pump a little bit more pressure up high. Yeah. And the reason I say that is for a striker who relies on his mobility, what we've seen tonight is a little bit lackluster in that department. That's okay. Now you have to play to his strengths, which are playing into his feet, allowing him to get forward facing. When a striker doesn't have that same sort of fluidity, giving him the support will all of a sudden take some of the pressure off of him, off those trees on the back line for Vermont, and allow him to be a bit more confident up top.
Well, we'll see if they can do that in the second half, as it is 0-0 here from Cary, North Carolina. A national champ's going to be crowned here. Maybe in 45 minutes, maybe in overtime, maybe in pens. We'll find out. We'll give you the first half highlights and analysis after this. 4 o'clock game, Clemson, Texas. The night game, Tennessee, Ohio State, 8 o'clock Eastern. Friday night, we started our with Notre Dame and Indiana. Man, it's going to be outstanding. Back here in Cary, North Carolina, it's been a very interesting first half with the College Cup on the line. 0-0 at the break between the Catamounts and the Thundering Herd. Let's take a look at the highlights. Kind of a physical first half, especially for Marshall. 9 fouls in that half.
It didn't really allow either side, to be fair, to establish any sort of rhythm or tempo within the game. And so we did see some tactical changes that I like from both teams. The problem was everybody kept changing. So we saw movement within the midfield. We saw players come a little bit higher for Vermont. The direction of play for Marshall changed a little bit because I thought they became very clean on the ball. The problem was, and head coach Chris Grassi talked about it, they couldn't get any chances out of it. The best chance of the half for either side came from this counterattack move on the side. Physical play, which we talked about, but then the ability to commit coming forward. This is what we want to see more of. Not just the one-offs, where when you win those turnovers, you're willing to establish numbers up high on the break. It's a little bit off on the outside. I still think it is a really good look for Vermont if they can continue down that path. It's the way that they found success in the semifinal and really has been the catalyst for success all season long.
That's Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff. You mentioned rhythm, and neither team can get it. How do you establish rhythm here?
Well, the good news is right now I'm there in the dressing room. I'm not going to repeat the words that are probably going on, but the managers are going to give them confidence. And they go about it a different way, but you got here for a reason. And we saw moments within the first half for both teams where you could see some of their identity, right? We saw that physical play for Vermont, the willingness to keep going, and that's what you have to say to each other. Just keep going, guys. You got to have the belief that we can do this, regardless of opponent or the scout. Forget about the weather and all the bright lights and noise. You just have to have the belief that everything that we've done to get here can maintain establishment and still provide you success.
When we talked about Lineker Rodriguez de Santos, the star, one of the stars for Marshall. Let's talk about Yaniv Bazzini, the star striker for the Catamounts. How do you get him more involved up top there?
I don't have an issue with his movement at all.
Okay.
I think he's doing enough defensively to provide pressure. I would actually like to see the support that's being given to him by some of his counterparts. If it's Zelafro on the weak side, we've seen a couple of the midfielders pop out as well. We've seen Wathuda up high. Recognizing the pressing patterns that when Bazzini starts to go to get there a bit quicker, that's going to allow them to win some of these transitional moments up higher on the field. Possessionally, that game has been deeper for them. So when they have won it, you're having to go 80 or 90 yards. You got to shrink that number to 40 or 50 because then the opportunities are going to start to open up for him on the attacking side.
They've opened up all season long and all tournament long. He scored in every single tournament game for the Catamounts. There he is in the locker room with his boys. This is their final halftime team talk of the season. It's all to play for. 45 minutes, maybe more for a national title. Second half, next.
Let's go to the tape.
This ball is just thrown into a defensive team meeting.
NFL Prime Time, only on ESPN Plus.
Oh, did I mention our exclusive expert analysis? Why settle for some football when you can have more football? It's simple. ESPN Plus equals more football. Stream now.
Welcome back to Cary, North Carolina, the Men's College Cup final here. Thanks to ESPN Images on site all week to capture these moments as these young men work towards immortality in terms of the sporting sense. Who'll be taking home that trophy? We are close to finding out. Second half about to kick off. 0-0 at the break. Coach Dow is on the field with Marion Crowder.
Coach, there was a massive sense of urgency for you on the sideline, specifically on this right-hand side. What do you want to see exploited in the second half?
Yeah, look, I think our first and second balls have been really good. Once we get that knockdown, we're able to get it wide and get some service or some second chances on goal. You know, that puts us in a position to score.
Message in the locker room.
Yeah, guys are loose. Guys showing great leadership, explaining what does well, what's going well. We got to cover a little bit more space, you know, in and around our box. But we're talking about those rotations.
Coach, last question I have for you, purely journalistic perspective. What do you make of the fact that your mascot did indeed beat the Marshall mascot in rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3?
Means we're going to win.
Love
it. Thank you, Marion. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff. That's it. Rock, paper, scissors decide the whole thing, buddy.
Hey, you got to take it away. Best of 3 series.
Best of 3.
That's how it works. Best of 3 between mascots. I don't make the rules.
Just play the game. All right, the Catamount crew is down here in full force. So are the fans from the Thundering Herd. We've had a great crowd here all weekend from both these clubs as well as Ohio State and Denver fans. Made this atmosphere great in Cary, North Carolina. Michael Laverne, the center official, blows the whistle. We are underway. Men's College Cup, second 45. Who will win the national championship? Will Marshall get their second star above the crest, or will Vermont, for the first time ever, have a team title for the Catamounts and the first America East team to ever win a national championship in the NCAA? Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff. Marion Crowder, as you just saw, down on the field. Driven in, back post. Silva was there in the back post. Bleeker arrived. Okioshi to take the corner. Second of the match for Thundering Herd. Second team All-American, newly minted this past weekend. Driven ball toward the spot. Headed up by Schultz Solano with Thuda on it. Flips it forward to Zelafro. All done by the freshman. Might find Ismail. He got it between the lines, but Yannick is there to scoop it up. Right there. Oh, this is it. This would decide the championship. The rock, paper, scissors battle. Oh, Marco 0 for 2. Tough L.
Unreal.
Well, Catamount fans gotta love that.
Back to back on the scissors? Come on, man.
It's mind game, baby.
Oh my goodness. Everybody knows you go paper there. You gotta change it up.
Is that what this is the definition of Monday morning quarterbacking, a rock, paper, scissors
You can't
game.
do the same gag twice. You gotta do another gag.
Pinged out wide to Tio Godard. A lot of space. Rodriguez dos Santos, one of the few times he's been in space, but his pass finds the feet of Max Murray first for a teammate. Returned by Zelafro and just shrugs off the challenge. It's be an opportunity. He's got Mazzini, he's got Ismail. And how about Rodriguez dos Santos? What a job tracking back, but he will take the foul. Will he take a card? Yes, he will. Second Marshall player in the book.
Chris Grassi said to us, we addressed it about 25 minutes in, how he is irreplaceable in his tactical application and defensively the work rate that you get is a bit unfortunate. He tried to get him on the first one, and the second recognizes as soon as he goes to ground that the contact is going to be made. But great job, by the way, positioning his body, the way that he comes back across in front of Lineker, Ryan Zelafro, to initiate that contact. That was also something Rob Dow, the head coach of Vermont, talked about. Said he's great at luring players in, knowing that he's going to take a hit.
Well, he took one. He's limping it off. He was actually slow to get up in the first half as well, the freshman out of the Philadelphia Union Academy. Very talented young man, had an outstanding semifinal game, and is having another big impact tonight. Now, Bazzini calls off with Thuda. Is Bazzini going for goal here?
It's a lot of space on the near post. He's leaving open.
He drives it low, pulled it. You need Bazzini.
All the room that's available, and they jump. Well, I can promise you, with the technology-driven game that is today, Marshall technical area, who constantly have Speedio pulled up, it's a camera that they have up top high to be able to see what the shape changes look like, but just overall run of play. They'll take a quick look at that and relay that you guys got to stay steadfast. You cannot allow that ball to get through.
Simeone to Murray. Murray blasts it to Wathuda. Good recovery there by Vukovic. And Rodriguez dos Santos on it. Okiyoshi. Fifth-year man from Japan. Finds Godard. You're over there gesticulating. What do you want to see happen here?
I want to be on the field.
I can tell. Folks, he's 5 feet away from me, walking back and forth. There's a lot happening up here.
It's one of the great things about this Marshall system, that moment where there's the 5-yard ball right in front of you on the sideline. Your natural tendency tells you to consider the movement. It's the simple ball. It's right here. Take the space. The complexity of how they play also tells you that you're probably not going to get that. But that was one moment where it looked like you could play that long ball down into the channel in release. It also allows Lineker to take some pressure off. He can get up high. Instead, they recycle it the other way. Their ability, though, to find the second and third chances, circumference in the other side of the field, is why they have been able to be one of the top teams in college soccer over the last half decade.
There's Taka Fujita, their normal right back, who, as you've talked about before, kind of helps them in their build at times. And very flexible piece. Left the first half of the match with, as coach said, he thought a muscle injury. So we'll see if he can re-enter the match in college soccer. He can come back in the second half. So we'll see if he does do that. And it is gave up a corner there too. Again, this is a big Catamount team. Fourth of the match as Vukovic couldn't handle the pass.
I do wonder, in the absence of Fujita, they've had a little switcher. Theo Godard coming to the near side. If they continue that way, showcasing that they want to build over here a little bit more. They are a right side dominant team who tends to open more space on the left, but puts it on the ground near side.
Outswinging ball arriving there was Barrett. Still loose. Kept in, a lot of bodies still in the mixer. Flipped in, flicked on, but to Yannick. And that tactical shift you're talking about, 21 White Godard is about to get the ball as we take a look. Replay. So Godard, who's just out of your picture, now is at right back, usually left back. You've got a Polinario now who's on the ball, pushed out to left back. That's usually in a left center back spot.
It's a little bit more of a forelook. It does put pressure on Polinario to step up high, to invert a little bit more than we normally see. Again, normally see in terms of what we've seen as of late.
Yeah.
You know, recognize that earlier in the year, we're not talking about Fujita sitting over here by his lonesome. You're talking about him on the back line, and Green Hai Pinto is that pivot piece on the right flank. So it speaks to the depth of this Marshall team that really they can change just at a moment's notice, but conversations at halftime, they have that flexibility as the game goes on because of the quality of player.
Vukovic was able to get that pass off as the touch got a little bit away from him. They'll turn it over now. Oh, Pizzini skips by him. And good tracking back by Okiyoshi. To Yannick. Okiyoshi plays it forward to Rodriguez dos Santos. In some space. Up to Silva. Cut it in on that left foot. He leaves it. Driven! Right to Hersig. Sterngard stung it.
Really well done, though, by Marco Silva. Really the first time we've seen him release high, and he's so unselfish, the work that he does on and off the ball. Many a winger in that situation. Try and take another touch. Let the space close down instead. His ability to draw the contact in, let it lay off. Also really difficult for Sterndorf to get all the way across it to the far post.
Ismail drove end line. There's nobody there to play it to. It's the first shot on goal of the game for Marshall. Back to Bleeker. Murray. Hartman floats it out to Bleeker. Thuda, first Godard, always wants to get on that right foot. Driven.
I like it though. This is something for this young man, Sidney Mathuda, as his growth continues. The Calgary native, America East all-rookie team last year. The midfielder of the year this year, second best in the country in assists. We sat with them and I looked at him in front of his peers and said, is it fair to say that your guys probably want you to be a little bit more selfish, more confident? They looked around the table and he goes, yeah, that's probably right. Those are the moments though. You gotta have the ability to be aggressive and be selfish and take over a match. That's the difference between the good players who are a flash of lightning and the greats, right, that leave their mark on a program.
His teammates know. He's a very soft-spoken sophomore young man coming into his own, but his teammates know they want him to assert himself more. We'll see if he tries to do this with a national title on the line here in the second half. Dispossessed. Nice move by Zelafro. And the foul will be called. Anholzer picked it off with his head, but it comes back down to Hartman. Bazzini. Ismail. Still Ismail. He might have a chance. And Okiyoshi is able to get the block in, but Simeon will keep it in play. He'll get off a good cross. Godard in the back post. With Thuda, though, touched it. It goes out for a goal kick. And as we mentioned, the Dow family, Coach Rob Dow's family, is in attendance. The fam is there that has made the trip down from Vermont. His wife Lauren just had their second child, Russell, on Thanksgiving morning. Then that afternoon, the team flew out to San Diego, won in overtime, 1-0. His older son, Hanson, was here for the semifinal with the in-laws, but the athletic department, along with the president of Vermont, organized the situation, got them chartered down here today. So Russell, the less than month-old, he was in the building. I imagine he's taking a nap now. He's got the green hair there, the chain. You see Lauren to the side.
Smartest one of the family. The newborn, he's up in the suite for the buffet. Well done, young man. He's learning.
And Russell is I'm being told, not in the building now. Good thing, but family able to share what could be a very, very special and historic moment for Rob Dow and the entire Catamount community and really the state. They're the only Division I program in the state of Vermont, and the players have told us and the coaches they feel that love and support of that entire state as they try to accomplish something unprecedented. Played forward. Panholzer trying to run onto it. He'll get there. Rodriguez de Santos in a lot of space at the top of the box. Cuts inside. Low ball. First leg is there. So you go on to the bottom of the hour here. Cary, North Carolina, alongside Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff, the great Marion Crowder, former Georgia striker, down on the sidelines. 0-0 in the Men's College Cup final between Marshall, the 2020 champs that were unseeded that year, unheralded, trying to establish themselves. Well, now they've become one of the elite teams in the country, second in the nation behind only Clemson in wins the last 5 years. This Vermont team is the unseeded team now, trying to do something that many thought they couldn't do and win a national title.
They're being much more aggressive up top now. I wouldn't necessarily call it a +1, meaning have the man advantage in 4v3 or 3v2, but there's a lot more man-on-man situations, and they've narrowed the back line. That's where Apollinario and Godard have to be really careful. As they come narrow, they come high, space is available, and those diagonals we're starting to see from Vermont starting to come to fruition.
Godard back to Vukovic. Up to Apollinario. He's got Teneda ahead to the right, Panholzer to the left. Plays Teneda, can't connect. Now Max Murray, the big center back, striding forward. He'll continue his run. He was an all-league striker 2 years ago at 6'5". Ismail out to Bazzini. That's their striker. Can he get a shot off? What a tackle. He goes down. Michael Laverne points to the ball. Vermont fans can't believe it. Not done yet. Simeone flips it in. Headed down. Sterngard swing and a miss. Bazzini back to Wathuta. Wathuta chops it back. Good help. And eventually out, and a foul will be called. Let's take a look at this tackle in the box.
Well, I mentioned the work rate for Bazzini, and eventually he is going to get a look. One of the best in the country at staying relevant within a match. Watch the second touch here as he cuts it back across. That is an unreal tackle. I mean, you have to understand the rapidity of rate at which that striker changes his pace to shift back across. Alex Bamford, take a bow. Unreal defending from their captain.
A senior from London. All-tournament team in the Sun Belt Conference the last 2 years. When some of these biggest games are on for this team, he has shown up at big spots. That was a heck of a tackle, as you mentioned. Now, we got a couple subs for Marshall coming in the match here. Hai Pinto has joined the fray, the sophomore. And you mentioned Pinto earlier in the game, the sophomore from Portugal, grew up in the Porto Academy, perennially one of the best teams in Portugal, a Champions League contender. Also grew up in that youth national team setup. Will be on the right side here. Also Pablo Simon joined as well, the Spaniard up top. And Theo Godard's going to go back to the left side now. Their normal left back returns to that spot. And Simon replaced Marco Silva. What do you make of the subs and kind of how the reordering?
Chris Rassi saw what I was talking about. They're having trouble on that far side, right? And that wasn't about Apollinario and his inability to get out there. It was about the fact that he's not used to playing that area. You can release him over, but normally he's got Godard. So when you put him in an uncomfortable position, his decision-making, he was a bit unsure. It opened up space, moments for Vermont coming high. Now you've got an out-and-out defender in Godard, who's back on his normal side. He can track over there, and most importantly, this will be more of a shift to give you balance on the outside. Hai Pinto is a menace, up and down all day long. One of his best attributes is getting up high and service into the box. Also provides recovery in the one-on-ones coming back the other way.
Pinto, 31 at the bottom of your screen, started every game last year. Got a lot of run early this year, but has fallen out of the starting lineup recently. Simone tried to pull it back. Will it find the legs of Sterngard? It does not. As Simeone comes out, gets it. Turned it over to Okioshi. Teneda couldn't quite get it. Murray's going to release it out wide. Zelafro on it. Got the FCS semifinals for your Saturday afternoon on ABC and ESPN+. Old rivals square off again. First game, noon Eastern. You got the two-time defending champs, the Jackrabbits from South Dakota State, taking on North Dakota State. Then number 1 seeded Montana State hosts the 4th seed South Dakota in Bozeman. A trip to the championship game January 6th in Frisco, Texas is on the line. Played back to Yannick. Out to Pinto. Try to play to the feet to Simone. Okiyoshi skips past Hartman. Sterngard, well done by the Dane. Simone taking the space, stepping forward. Teneda clips it in, looking to Rodriguez de Santos. Laverne says that was shoulder, not arm. They do not, chooses not to take a look at the potential penalty, waved it off. And that pass, a little wayward. Okiyoshi able to keep possession. Pinto in space, out to Simone. Low ball driven, arriving is Teneda. Clips it back in, headed by Murray. And the body's colliding, and out comes Herseg. And I believe that's Hartman down in a heap. And Schultz Solano actually is down. A senior from Germany, grew up in the Frankfurt Academy. As he's getting treatment, let's take a look at this appeal for a handball.
I felt like from our angle it was off the shoulder, absolutely. Great call by the refereeing crew. No infraction there whatsoever on the defending by Max Murray. And the second one, the low ball, it's just a collision to be fair. No foul, the linesman actually had the flag up on the near side.
Now Rob Dow striding out to see what the situation with his senior midfielder. Dealt with injuries throughout the early part of the season. His second team all-league player last year. As we take another look at the incident.
On the knee when he comes low.
Oh, yeah. That's tough.
Well, he is, listen, given what we've seen out of this Catamounts team, you don't want to say it's irreplaceable, but yeah. That's a big loss if Schultz Solano isn't able to continue.
Now, Michael Laverne just made the video review sign. And he's going to walk over and take a look. Trying to get confirmation on what he is assessing here. He's reviewing the handball. Now, usually in college soccer, as it's been applied, this is the first year full video review. If it's not blown dead immediately, very rarely, if at all, have we ever seen a play go back to look. And this was, the foray into the box a few minutes before, a possession before.
I still have no doubt that it's not a handball.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Do you have an issue with him looking at this now?
Yes, I do, because all season long we've been told you can't. Yes. So unless something that's being communicated hasn't reached us, that they're looking at something else, but that's not a handball. That's simple.
So, again, this is the first year in which video review has been applied where you can assess was it a penalty or not. And obviously within college soccer, there's a lot of disparity between facilities and how things work. So DV Sport, though, is here at the national tournament. It's all consistent. They are showing Michael Laverne the reviews in different angles. And they have a different feed, different cameras. They are, though, looking at essentially the exact same looks that you just saw and we just saw here on our monitors. And we'll take another look.
I don't know what we're looking at. I do apologize. It's right at the bottom of the armpit, what they're talking about. I don't see it. I'd make the argument that the previous view where it showed him head on. You don't see the body lean that, to me, has more contact at that upper shoulder chest region, right on the pectoral spot.
So Schultz Solano is up and walking off the injured player from before. And it was waved off. There is no penalty. Now we're going back because the flag was up, so that's why the arm went up. For the actual possession we were watching was offside. So that was an interesting application there by Michael Laverne, the center official. And Schultz Solano, we'll see if he can come back in the game. He is readying himself on the sidelines. As we look and wait for Schultz Solano to maybe come back on through injury, Marion Crowder has more on Taka Fajita, the right back for Marshall, that left the first half with injury. Marion?
Yeah, it was an upper left leg injury. It's double wrapped, and it's also got a sleeve higher up underneath his shorts. He started jogging around the 41st minute of this half. He went back into the locker room, got a heating pad, came back down. He's been up and down a few times as I've watched, consistently trying to keep that loose.
Thank you, Marion. And you can see that heating pad still on him on the sidelines there, under his leg. See if he rejoins the match, the sophomore from Japan. Rodriguez dos Santos in a foot race with Bleeker. Bleeker gets it out. Back to Bamford. Got Bazzini there chasing. Yoshi. Mishap on the touch, but it's able to be bailed out. Taneda. Still Taneda. Bench to Simeon. Picks his pocket. Yoshi, can he pick up that second ball? Good recovery by Hartman. Schultz Solano back on his feet, but he's really limping through. And now chance for Pinto. Lays it off. Oh! Simone just couldn't sort out his feet. Kept in. Rodriguez dos Santos. Out to Pinto. Sterngard. Godard. He's got a little space. He'll hit it. Blocked by Schultz Solano. Popped up in the air. Brought down by Sterngard. There's Simone. Pop it up on the other side of the pitch. What a ball. It through. The cut back. Murray is there, though. Whipped in. Murray again. Marshall starting to apply pressure consistently here.
That's where you got to be careful if you're Vermont. They got a little bit flat in their shape, and Schultz Solano down underneath. He can't cover all of that space on either side of him.
Rodriguez dos Santos. Pops it up toward the back post and hit the bar. Wow. From that angle, not sure how that happened.
Oh, he's trying to bring this ball back across, but notice his head just scanning the whole time, trying to find a seam to pick someone out. He's just trying to take it in, let someone run under. Actually under hits it a little bit. Doesn't matter if it ends up in the back of the net.
Not at all. You saw Sam Bassett with a shot cross in this game against Vermont in the semifinal where Denver scored. Here's Pinto now. Good ball whipped in. Hersick spills in. It's loose. And there it is. Panholzer. He's got 3 goals in the tournament and 3 goals on the year. And this may be the one.
Within that conversation about their shape getting a little bit flat, it's coverage centrally within the midfield. It's also about recognition here. The ability to get to the other side quick enough. Marshall has been incredible over the last 5 minutes about providing depth and options. It's like a heartbeat. Ball comes back to the inside. That's the recognition we were talking about. I told you, when Pinto comes onto the field, he plays high, he plays deep. His service, undeniable. Comes back across the 6. You feel for her sake. He wants to get his hands on it. An unfortunate spill in front. But you put yourself in a good spot if you're Panholzer on the follow-up. Follow the ball, follow the play. Hurd thundering forward.
That young man is balling at the biggest time of the year. All 3 of Hood's goals are in the NCAA tournament. And now he has one in the national championship, and he has one in the national semifinal that was the winner against Ohio State. Now, I will say this. Vermont went down 1-0 in the 69th minute to Denver. They equalized. We called them the cardiac catamounts for a reason. They have 15 goals on the season. And the 82nd minute or later, this thing is far from over. This is a second-half team overall, and they make plays late. Do they have one more comeback in them? They're going to need it.
I go a step further on that, Dallin. Very clear with the head coach, Vermont, Rob Dow, harnessing the emotion after you do go down to your benefit. He said it's something we've really grown on after being scored on. Maturity, leadership, and accountability.
Oh, Yannick upended. And Michael Laverne has no call. The Catamounts still have the ball. Now Panholzer is on it. And Yannick is really struggling. He's going to go down. Remember, he went down in the first half. And now he's down again, and that was an obvious, brutal collision. Michael Laverne's going to jog back to check on him, and the Marshall training staff is waiting for a moment.
This is some kind of gut check by the goalkeeper. I mean, he knows some sort of contact is coming, whether with his own player, whether if Zelafro comes underneath him. You know, 2 different angles. The first one didn't look of anything. The second one, Zelafro, doesn't really create contact. It's just the space when he comes high and his own player drifting under. But that's some kind of bravery.
Yeah. Keepers are a different breed, and you see why right there. Sacrificing it all for the team. The junior from Belgrade, Serbia. He is up and pressing on. See his numbers in the goal. Great this year. 5th in Division I individually as a team. Remember, he only played in 15 games due to injury earlier in the season. The team there, top 10 in the nation in goals against average. They'll need another clean sheet as the game stands right now to win this thing in regulation. Simeon. Zelafro can't control it. Simone tracks back to receive it. Vigas de Santos goes down, took out Wathuda. Wathuda is holding his head.
I just want to cap that conversation about accountability. Immediately after this goal was scored, Marshall down in the corner, celebrating on the sideline. Rob Dow and his staff, huddle up. This is about communicating to each other, of maintaining belief. You mentioned the going down before. It's something that was established in their run last year. They played UCF, second round, went down 2 minutes in, scored 13 minutes later. Now, while West Virginia got the better of them in the next round game, ended up being a College Cup participant, West Virginia scored in the 4th minute, 28 minutes later. This team is all about staying relevant within a match and maintaining belief that they can claw themselves back into it.
They're going to want Wathuta to do that. This guy is a midfielder of the year in the America East Conference. And take a look at what happened to him on that tough tackle as he's still holding his head.
Oh, the knee.
Ooh,
Yeah, just
knee
caught
and then hit the turf too.
Probably Simone who slid over.
And remember, he was hurt late in the semifinal game where he had to exit that match as well. And Rob Dowdis made the change, made a motion that he's going to have to be taken out.
He can't protect himself from height.
And unfortunately, it sounded like some of the wording that was said was he's done. I hope that's not the case here for Sidney Wathuta. Such a talented young man on the wing, certainly part of the comeback in the America East semifinal. The comeback, the second time this year that the Catamounts have been able to do so. Denver College Cup semifinal. Certainly the first contact on the knee and the second one that right there comes to the ground.
Oh.
Certainly running through the checks right now, making sure that this young man, the neck area, the head, that they're going through the proper protocols, and there is the motion to the sideline from the trainer that they are in fact going to need to replace him.
Marcel Papp is waiting, but this young man, the sophomore from Calgary, Canada, grew up in the Whitecaps Academy, and he is struggling to get off the pitch. Truly unfortunate scene for him to make his way off, and Papp waiting to come on now. If somehow he could continue and they give more checks, because it is a head injury, he would be able to re-enter in the second half, where normally any other reason to sub a player, he would not be able to return. But head injury, they give you the allotment of time to fully check him out, but that does not look good for that young man. All right, now Papp is getting set to come in, who has started 8 games this year. He's appeared in every game so far this season. The grad student, grew up in Hungary, had a good youth pedigree as part of the Hungary U17 Euros. Is another creative player to put in the midfield for Rob Dow. Ball popping around, might fall. Headed on and over Yemen.
Certainly had numbers up high. Well done to at least move it forward to Benny Bazzini, but Yannick nowhere near off his line that it was really ever going to be able to test him.
And out by Bamford, he wanted a foul on Bazzini, none called.
And with that change, you bring Marcel Papp to the left side. They've released Simeon just a little bit higher, something that we saw again in the semifinal against Denver. They've also boxed the midfield. It's going to allow them to retain, in theory, a bit more possession because of the 2v2. You know, Marshall likes to play with depth, and the way that they flatten themselves out, more options deeper, more options higher. The question's still going to be as to whether or not you can get guys like Zelafro and Marcel Papp on the ball to maintain the width. As tight or as wide as it may be, you have to have them in this game.
Okiyoshi back to Yannick. Even ball by Zelafro. Yannick out to corral it. Coverage of the NCAA Championships continues with the women's volleyball semifinals Thursday, December 19th, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more information of the NCAA Women's Championship, Volleyball Championship, log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 championships. That 6:30 game is going to be an all-ACC affair, Louisville and Pitt. And then the nightcap, Penn State taking on Nebraska, the defending runners-up in the nation. Nebraska fell to Texas in the championship game last year, championship match. And to get to that title game Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC. All right, Barrett steps forward for a long throw. And actually, will fake out. He'll play it short. Simeon will hit it in. Pinto's trying to run this down. Simeon better not leave this short. Hersig has to come out and get it. How about that 80-yard run? Zelafro tries a challenge, and Pap went down. He's saying it should have been a foul call. He's still on the deck, slowly getting to his feet. A little foot race now. Rodriguez dos Santos loses out. Well done.
Pulls up a little bit lame out of that.
Hartman struggling a bit now. Zelafro battling with Pinto, and he'll draw the foul. Pap draws the foul.
He dealt with a fair bit of cramping, Mills Hartman, in the semifinal match. Had to rotate back through. Certainly didn't have to do it, though, in the absence of Sidney Wathuda, though. Max Kissel is up in front of us and moving.
What a tackle by Simone. There could be a break here now. Sterngard plays it out to Teneda. It's a heavy touch, but Teneda stays with it. Floated in back post. Brought down by Simone. Leaves it. Rodriguez dos Santos. Driven in. Oh, Teneda couldn't connect. Cleared by the Catamounts.
You wonder, with the success that we've seen from Marshall in the midfield, if this change with Max Kissa would be him a little bit higher, Zelafro deeper, and Ismail just comes a little bit further to the outside. You get fresh legs up top, you get more ground coverage centrally.
The goal scorer, Panholzer, running out of real estate, plays it back to Polinario. Sterngard in space. Teneda's able to flick it on to Panholzer. Teneda will continue his run. Simeon. Hold on. Simeon, the grad student, transferred from San Francisco last year. He's an all-league player in the West Coast Conference.
He was electric in the quarterfinal on the road against Pitt. Certainly one of the best defenders on the field for the Catamounts in the semis. By the way, it's not just the tackle. It's that clean little touch to get around him, too.
Yeah. Rob Dow ready a couple substitutions here for the Catamounts. Uzzini blatantly fouled there. And Panholzer looks like he's asking for a sub. He's making a motion for a substitution. You see the goal scored. Now Chris Grassi says, go down if you want to come out of the game. And he does go down now, and Michael Laverne will stop the. Now this young man, he's getting booed right now by the Catamount fans, but the Thundering Herd faithful love him because he's got both goals right now in the College Cup for this team.
Again, as good as they've been on the ball tonight, they were just really directed. Opening 10 minutes of the match, there was a change on the back line. There was a high line that ensued off of a set piece. Couldn't catch him in transition. Same type of conversation tonight, but the class inside the 6. Again, he's looking for this ball high into the back post. The tree saw it. Good job shifting back over, but his speed, the cut on the moment's notice, is what broke the deadlock and has Marshall out in front.
And now he will get a little curtain call here. Panholzer walks off. He subbed on Joao Roberto, the forward, the sophomore from Santos, Brazil, comes in. And Panholzer walks off, and Ryan Holmes comes on for Alex Sterngard. Holmes, number 5. The junior, the only player on the roster from West Virginia. Should say the only player that gets minutes on the roster from West Virginia. Flipped in, looking for Murray in the back post. Can't get to him. Zelafro. There's Berto's first touch. He's on the run. He's got his countryman, the fellow Brazilian, Rodriguez de Santos. 1v1 with Simeon. Simeon does so well. Zelafro turning Holmes and drawing another foul. How many fouls he's drawn in this game? 13th foul of the match for the Thunder Herd.
Nathan Simeon, the recovery run there, far side of the field when it comes back through the middle. Him coming back the other direction. Not super clean coming out, but it really is impressive, Brian Zelafro, what he brings to this team. That's a freshman, by the way. Put in a lot of pressure-packed situations, and it just feels like he is never shy to step into the moment.
So on that quick restart, you've got another Marshall player down. It's Bamford, a senior from London. Now Rob Dowd wants to make a couple changes. He and Jude Carr, the 4th official, are having words.
Well, guys, Max Kissel has been standing up either by the coach's technical area after they summoned him to come onto the pitch, or standing here waiting to be subbed since the 21st minute. 21 on the clock, I should say.
Well, after that long 8-minute wait, which is abnormal, why Rob Dow's upset, Schultz Solano comes off, I should say. And as mentioned, Kissel, guy that gets you goals. He's been huge for them at times. He's got 10 goals on the season. He's got a bunch of game winner goals. He's been big at big moments for them. Striker from Germany. See if he can pop up again in a big moment. Ball falls to the feet of Roberto. Nice touch. Showing his fresh legs. Almost got it to Taneda. Falls to Okiyoshi. Simone flips it back. Post! Roberto was there. Falls to Taneda. What a save! By Herseg. Keeps it at 1-0 and keeps the Cats in it. Wow.
This team doesn't give up a ton of opportunities, but when they do, this is what you get. The best goalkeeper in the country when it comes to save percentage. He's mentally checked in. It's a testament to the defending in front of him, but when needed most, Nicholas Herseg, a little bit in front of him on technique, but the recovery of that body to bring it back over and bring it in. Perfection.
85.5 is his save percentage, as you noted, tops in the nation for the freshman. Second team all-league keeper, all-rookie team. And we're ticking down here again. They're called the cardiac catamounts for a reason. 82nd minute or later, they have 15 goals on the campaign. Of their 46, nearly a third of their goals on the season come when the game is in its dying embers. They did it the other day to Denver to go on to win in Pens. Can they do it again here today?
65% of their goals in the second half in general, yet alone, what they're able to do in the closing moments of the game. An interesting change, by the way. Schultz Solano, absolutely gassed. Right? He had nothing left in him. The change that I alluded to before was probably going to see Ismail come a little bit deeper, but thought maybe they might rotate Zelafo there and put Ismail outside. They have gone with him more on the interior to allow Max Kissel to work side by side instead of one underneath.
Good find to Roberto. He'll line it up. Driven out of the stadium. Sophomore from Brazil. Grew up in the Santos Academy, which was made famous, of course, by the great Pelé. And then later on by Neymar, coming up in that academy as well. Another substitution made by the Catamounts. So we get things organized here. Jonas Vasiliu, the grad student from Frankfurt, Germany, comes in for Hartman now. What does that offer, you think, Devin?
The question is whether or not they want to utilize him a little bit higher, and where they release him on the left. It's something that, as the game closes itself out, they utilize him more in like a wingback style role. He still gives you the luxury off the outside of Bleecker, but centrally can reach moments like that for Barrett Murray.
Oh, might be an opportunity here with the 1-2 shot. We're equalized again. They do it again. It's the South Marcel Pep. They are never out of it.
Watch Max Murray, 36 in green and gold. Watch the way that he steps up through the midfield. Closes down the space, and how clean is that ball by your center back? Unreal. First one in, sets it up so appropriately. Drops that side right into the corner, and then takes off the other direction. Shifts the goalkeeper as a player. Perfectly done. Lets it come right across the body. Goalkeeper moves with you. You allow yourself to gain more momentum coming back across the ball to pick out that bottom corner. Revived once again, the Catamounts are.
Well, it wasn't the 82nd minute. It was the 81st. Wow. And I'll tell you what. Alexa Yannick is going to want this distribution back, because that's what helped create it. But you're right, all these beautiful touches by the Catamounts.
It's just unreal the way that they quickly move through the middle. Again, just maintaining a presence. What did we say the entire time? It's fine if you want to come tight, but you got to make sure that you're pinching yourself out wide. Credit to Marcel Papp, by the way. He was really deep, and he was tight. A position that he's very comfortable in, a position that they utilized him all season long. But as this has gone on, that's the tactical versatility that I talked about. They push numbers up high. They create depth. Most importantly, the character of belief reigns supreme to keep you in this match.
They always say we're not underdogs. We're just dogs. And these guys fight, they scratch, they claw, and they believe that they will find a way back in. They did it in the semifinal. They did it in the final. And now the UVM crowd has really come to life. And we saw it when they scored on Ohio State. They didn't sit back. They pushed forward, and they controlled the game to the end.
It was almost the turning point when, to be fair, when Denver scored two, they sat back and became a little bit tentative, right? Vermont kept going. They get more aggressive. Rob Dow says, didn't happen this year. Didn't happen in that game. It's been a journey for these young men.
And to that point, right after the goal, a couple of players from Vermont came over to the sideline, and Rob Dow said, now you play quicker.
See if they can put those words into practice. But right now, the Thundering Herd on the ball. Okiyoshi back to Pinto. Zelafro's a really good young player.
That tricks are for kids, but he's young enough he can get away with it.
Ryan Holmes corrals it. Rodriguez to Santos rides the challenge. What a tackle by Ismail. Teneda thought he was going to give it a ride. He doesn't, turns it over. Up to Kissel. 1v2, what will he try to do? Now you've got Teneda's down there stretching. You just see him appear on your screen. He's up trying to make the run now. Lucas Santos almost was able to make that move past Murray, who's been a shadow with him all day. And Bamford hits the deck, and Pap, the goal scorer, almost able to get it. Get on the break. Holmes checks his shoulders on the ball. Out to João Roberto. Okiyoshi, Teneda, flag stays down. Dangerous in the cross there. A little reverse pass to Okiyoshi. Now he'll play it in. Wow, Murray he's just so big, able to get up and head that down. Now Bazzini might have a chance.
Oh, watch back post run.
Kissel's there. Can he play Kissel? He's got it to him. Tracking back is Holmes. Bazzini busting it down the middle. The cutback. Can Kissel put it away? Oh, just wide. Out for a corner, though it was touched out by Marshall. Kissel can't believe it.
There are so many levels to this. The ability by Kissel to release as he comes. Watch the top side of your screen and the run. That is Bazzini. That little touch right there. He slips it in. It's in. I mean, it is an incredible save by Yannick on the backside. But what you don't see is Bazzini all by his lonesome atop the 6. The wave just continues to come for Vermont.
I said Yannick will be upset about this distribution. He'll be beaming about that save because he just kept his team in this thing 1-1. Now, to the corner with the big catamounts and their center back striding forward. Now, we did make some changes. Teneda slowly making his way up the pitch. But Amen Sordo, number 10 in the striped jersey, has appeared. In swinging ball looking for Murray. They found it and he spilled it. But they did clear it. Andrew Miller did sub on for Zelafro. And offside on Pap there.
A bit nervy here. It's not often that you see him drop something like this. Yannick doesn't collect it the first time. When he tries to bring it down, it actually comes off his foot. Very fortunate that this doesn't spill in. Insult to injury. Bazzini grabs the mag.
Ticking down to 5 minutes left in regulation. If we are still deadlocked, we will go to 1 10-minute overtime period. Sudden victory. Next goal wins. If there is no goal, a second one of those, 10 minutes, still no go penalties. We're ways off from that. Holmes out to Godard. Roberto. Can't connect. Godard on the ball. Holmes. Pinto. Simone. Pinto in the overlap. It's Rodriguez de Santos. He maintains possession. Simone starts, gets off the cross towards Roberto. Sordo trying to get his first touch on the ball. Back to Yannick. Let's short it, and he did. Okiyoshi, the All-American, gives it up to Kissel. Kissel goes down. And Apolinario is pleading his case, but he will go in the book. Third card for the Thundering Herd.
Timing just a half second short. That's tired legs right there getting in the way of the fresh striker from the German, Max Kissel. Nice little touch. The first one got away from a good recovery to come back through by Max Kissel and just extend his foot out to get in front of Godard. Apolinario slid over. They've been very clever with their trickery on some of these set pieces. Haven't seen it as much tonight, but the misdirection that they run, and it's not just the first or second. Sometimes it's the third runner that they're looking at, trying to pick out Max Murray, then the ball back across, and sometimes it's all the way back through instead of the immediate threat, looking for the likes of Bazzini.
Tap over the ball, flips it toward Murray on the back post. They will call a foul on Murray, though, so actually they will call an offside before that. Ticking down to 3 minutes left in regulation. Marshall vying for their second College Cup. Vermont for their first ever and their first appearance in the College Cup. No Vermont team has won any national championship. No America East team has won any national championship or competed for one. They've already made history getting here, but as they told us, Devin, nobody will remember us if we don't win. We got to win the whole thing. Eventually goes out for Marshall throw here, under 2:30. Ismail. Driven ball out by Murray. Okiyoshi almost had it. Roberto out to Pinto. He can hit it. He does. What?
Certainly not the best we've seen from the Portuguese youth national team player, i.e. Pinto. Service that he put forth to Van Hulzer on was a magical goal to get this place a rocket. Nullified. Marcel Papp.
Turned by Simone. To Sordo. Back to Sordo. Well run by the defensive player of the year in the America East, Zach Barrett. He'll earn his team the throw, too.
They've done an excellent job defensively of eliminating this near touchline. Not as much movement up high for Hai Pinto. Vasilio, the way that he comes back over, pinches off Bleeker.
Quick throw. We are under 60 seconds. Kissel running it down the corner with Apolinario. And they're calling Zach Barrett forward. The center back's chugging up there to get his patented long throw in and maybe cause absolute pandemonium in front of this UVM section. If they can get the latest of winners. Max Murray, his big center back partner, strides forward. That's the target, 36. Headed up, not out. Struck back into play, and a foul will be called with 25 seconds, now less, on the clock. Well, Yannick is in no rush. Cats did it again. They were down but not out. And we're heading to overtime for all to play for. Devin Kerr, your thoughts on the first 90?
Certainly the response by Vermont, once again, it is unreal what they are able to produce with their backs up against the wall. Marshall had taken over in the game, really at every level, to be fair, even on the physical side, but Vermont never wavered. And again, this is another opportunity, much like the discussion we had at halftime, Dallin, where tactical adjustments, specifically for Marshall, that need to be made. We can go more into that at the beginning of OT, but the ability to give proper instruction right now and also give you guys an uplift of spirits, get some electrolytes in them because the war of attrition is starting to kick in.
Get the electrolytes in them. They went to overtime and penalties. Vermont did in their semifinal. They'll get the fluids. Go get a beverage, take a break. You got about 4 minutes till we're back here. Kick it off overtime. A national championship on the line.
Slay the season with Hisense 100-inch TVs, up to 40% off. Get a slam dunk deal this holiday season. You're gonna need a bigger Christmas tree. Win the holidays with Hisense.
Chip trophy will be hoisted by Marshall or by Vermont. Will it be in overtime? Will it be in penalties? We find out now. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff. Marion Crowder down on the field. As we get set for overtime here, and we look at the goals that got us here, Tariq Penholzer, the goal scorer in the semifinal, and also did it for Marshall again in the final.
His speed, once again, and it's not out in open space. It's his ability to change on a dime. Notice how quickly he just bounces off the shoulder. He knows where the ball needs to be. It doesn't get there, but great adjustment by the striker up top for Marshall. Not to be undone, though. Vermont once again. Cardiac, Catamounts, keep coming. Great step by the center back, Max Murray, on the secondary ball to find the 1-2 with Marcel Papp to release him into the bottom corner. And we're back to square one.
Now, here are your rules. So we've got 2 10-minute periods. Golden goal of sudden victory, if you will. So next goal wins the match. If we do not have one of those in the first 10 minutes, we will go to another second 10-minute period. No goals. we go to penalties. You cannot re-enter as a sub in the first or second period. Those players that left in the second half, though, can re-enter into the overtime now, as some have. One being Tariq Panholzer, the goal scorer. And we'll get you set with the other lineup changes that happened in between the break here. All to play for. Vermont looking for their first ever championship. Marshall for their second in just 5 years, what would put them in rarefied air alongside schools like Indiana, Clemson, Virginia, Maryland over the last 35 years. Devin, what are you focused on as we set this overtime right now with both these clubs?
There's some width on that left-hand side for Marshall, and you're going to get it with the addition of Panholzer. That's going to bring João Roberto a little bit higher, and that's going to provide stability too. They were too deep.
Played out wide. João Roberto continues his run. He's on it. He skips through the big striker. Almost finds Kissel. Falls to Bamford, though. He drives it out to Hai Pinto. Right to Okiyoshi, second-team All-American. Floats it forward. Headed down. Dings forward. Pizzini does well. Just kind of hooked forward again.
To your analysis, that's exactly what Chris Grassi told me. He felt like they were entirely too deep, and the changes they made were in hopes to put pressure on them, ultimately denying what Vermont is trying to do and hitting the long ball.
Good pressure.
Panholzer almost does.
He's a menace. I mean, unwavering in effort everywhere on the field.
Pizzini now asking a lot of Pap, the goal scorer, to track that down. He can't. Is it factored all that Vermont just did this a few nights ago when they beat Ohio State playing in an overtime and in a penalty?
They didn't just do it a few nights ago. They've done it all season long. That's the biggest thing when you look at Vermont and their identity. It's, yeah, certainly we want to be the first one to score.
Apologies, against Denver a few nights ago.
Yeah, they have the ability to just stay within a game. And again, they change, they morph. They've done it. They haven't really evolved recently. And I'm looking at the changes right now, just down underneath that second line of pressure. They were really good because when they went to the single pivot of one midfielder, they had this line of three. They don't have that anymore because they've gone high with Kissel and Pizzini. There's like a 15-yard gap for the midfielders to operate within. They have to stay more condensed right around the midfield line.
We are in a sudden victory situation. Next goal wins the match and wins the national championship. The stakes could not be higher for either team or their fans right now. Pinto. Bamford to Polinario. Looking to João Roberto. He's cleaned out. That's going to be a free kick in a good area. Not many of these on the day for Marshall.
Why? Why are you doing that fast? That is a very big mistake right there from Simone up top.
Opportunity just kind of given away, and now Yannick's got to run the header down, and we'll corral it. Yannick kind of looking like make that long ball pass he made to Panholzer that led to the goal against Ohio State, but nice job by Zellifer to pick it up. And here's Pap charging forward. He's got Pizzini, who gets a piece of it, but not much.
Just tired legs here from Pizzini. I think he questioned himself as to where this ball was going to drop, and watch as it comes back across. He wants to bring that down on his right foot. It kind of gets caught in between his steps and just doesn't make clear contact to the far side.
Nice job by Rodriguez de Santos to drop deep, get it to Holmes, and now they get it out wide. Striding forward. And that went off of Simone, I believe, or excuse me, Sordo. Holmes. Picked off by Barrett, well read. And the center back will blast it long and ask Kissel to get in a foot race with Bamford. Kissel may win, and he does! Can he win the national championship? 1v1 against Yannick! Oh my gosh, they do it! Don't call them Cinderella! You can call them national champs! For the first time ever!
Congratulations to the Vermont, Canada, the 2024 Division I Men's Soccer National Champion. He was unassisted and netted by number 9, Maximilian Kissel. And he's in the second round for the TV award ceremony, which will begin at 7:30.
Rob Dow with the trophy, overcome with emotion, and what his team has just done. And take a look at the goal. The assist by their center back, Barrett. Route 1 to Kissel.
A friendly reminder that it's not only the assist by Barrett off the back line, he created the initial contact too. He saw that he had the runner up high. That's fresh legs against an exhausted center back. Plays the angles game. Well done the way that it's weighted. I know he's going to want this one back if you're Bamford. He knows he shouldn't have left his feet in that situation. It's a desperation attempt to try and get on. Still one of the top strikers in the country. And we talked about this coming in. The relativity of this team to maintain balance. Now 6 game-winning goals and belief for the Catamounts by that man right there, Kissel. The type of company that he's keeping, Jaskalainen, All-American Mac Herman finalist. Rodriguez dos Santos, All-American Mac Herman finalist. But Max Kissel, we looked him in the eye in our meetings, doesn't care the role, wants an opportunity, and has put the crown on the Catamounts.
Let's get down to Marion with the hero.
Max, I just asked you, do you have any idea what just happened? What was your answer to me?
We're national champions. UVM are national champions.
What does that sound like to you? What does that mean to this group of guys?
Everything. When I was on the portal and I talked to teams, and when I talked to Dad, when I talked to Brad, this is the place I want to be. This is the place to win a national champion. This is the best team in this country. I'm just happy that we could prove it.
I said that you scored the goal because it didn't seem like you understood that fact, and your response to me was team. What is it about this team that makes you guys special?
We're family. I know it sounds cliche, it sounds kinky or whatever. My English not top, by the way, sorry. But we're just a family. We spent so much time together. For the past 4 weeks, we've been on the road. I've slept in countless hotels. I've been in my house, I think, 4 nights in the last month. Haven't gone to class. I couldn't make it to class. We had to go to our finals, but we always stuck together. There's no one who like envies the other. There's no one who hates. We are all a family. Everyone loves each other, and that's the secret.
Not only is this team a family, but this is bringing an entire state together. What do you have to say about the support that you guys get, not only from the fans here, but back home in Vermont?
It's unique. That's Vermont. We play a lot of places where you have like 200 viewers, 100 viewers. No one really cares for soccer. In America, it's like a small sport. But at UVM, especially at UVM, it's a soccer state, it's a soccer school. We get 2,000 people, everyone's involved, all the student athletes are involved, and I'm just happy that it could now transpire to the big stage.
There's this saying going around your social media, underdogs? No, just dogs. What do you want people to know about this team, this program?
That there's no Cinderella, there's no underdog, there's not luck or whatever. It's will, it's skill, and it's fucking talent.
Congratulations, you're a national champion. Go celebrate.
Thank you very much.
National champs, and they are immortalized, as he mentioned. 6 wins they had to get. They were unseeded. 3 road games. They traveled over 7,200 miles just in this tournament to get here. They beat a 7 seed, the 3 seed, the 2 seed, and now the 13 seed. They are not Cinderella. They are national champs, and they proved it in the most challenging way possible. And what a month for Rob Dow and his wife, Lauren, you just saw. Let's get down to Coach Dow. He is with Marion.
Go ahead. You can put the hat on. It's all right. We like to see the gear. Oh, Coach, you've been a little busy. A newborn baby, and now a national champion. What's going through your mind right now?
I'm just so proud to be the coach of this team, to be able to represent our state. And these... the best.
You were saying.
We've traveled 7,920 miles to be here. We beat the 7 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed. Now, I think they're the 13th seed. We're the toughest team I think anyone's going to be able to face. To rally back again, the Cardiac Cats. We did it.
Coach, you could visibly see the emotion as a team, as individuals. I saw some of your staff just crying, sobbing. Can you put into perspective for us the work that goes into winning a national champion?
It's been really hard for everyone, but the best things in life are also the hardest things.
I talked earlier to a couple of your players about what this would mean for not only this university, but for the state and for the fans that you guys have, not only here, but back home. Coach, what's your message to the group of supporters who have been so loyal to you guys this season?
Let's go home and celebrate with them. Absolutely.
Congratulations. Go celebrate. I hope you have a fun trip home.
Thank you. You guys are great.
Burlington is going to be on fire tonight. They got a watch party going on at Nectar's Restaurant. That place had to be ballistic right now. They are the toughest team mentally and physically, and they proved it here tonight, Devin Kerr. Down again in past the 80th minute, and they win in overtime.
You certainly have to look at the body of work within this season, right? But I would also be very quick to point out that, as Rob Dow does and everybody else within this program, it isn't just about this year, that this has been something that has been building for quite some time. People look at it and think, oh, it's Vermont, it's the America East. But nationally, their relevance and their numbers, it's win percentage, right? It's their ability, goals, things of that nature. They've been right there at the top. Tournament wins come NCAA time. They've always been right there as well. They've never broken into a college cup. The level of comfort was always there. They just needed a chance. If you look at Rob Dow, the pedigree of coaching that he comes from, to me, it's not shocking whatsoever. His predecessor, Jesse Cormier, started at Vermont, really got that program back on map when he had come over from Oregon State. Jesse now at Florida Gulf Coast University. But even prior to that, Rob was an assistant at Southern New Hampshire University. Why do I bring it up? Because one of the all-time winning coaches active right now is Mark Hubbard at NC State, next to the numbers for Chris Grassi. Rob Dow was Mark Hubbard's assistant there. So it's about opportunity. It's about belief. That was instilled for a long period of time. So when the call came, when Jesse Cormier went down to Florida Gulf Coast, although there was some posturing with his wife behind the scenes, this is where they wanted to be. The belief was there, and they have just taken that and run with it. Last 3-year relevance, great, but champions finally crowned.
These young men told us the other day, getting the College Cup means nothing because people won't remember us unless we win the whole thing. Well, Rob Dow and all the boys, you just did it. You are immortals in the sporting sense. The Green Mountain State is going off. Congratulations to the Catamounts and what they put forth here today in this tournament, and particularly the College Cup. For my partner, Devin Kerr, our producer, Todd Koulis, great director, Johnny Hanna, Marion Crowder, I am Dallin Cuff. Can't believe we're saying it. The Vermont Catamounts, 2024 national champs. ESPN Plus for the trophy presentation right now.